What's going on, everybody? It's the Home Theater Hobbyist here, and a few weeks ago I reviewed this, the Emotiva Airmotive T2 Plus. And in the comment section, a few of you asked me, how does the T2 Plus compare to my Klipsch RP-260F? And I wanted to do a video on it, but honestly this isn't a true apples to apples comparison, because the T2 Plus, as you can see, is quite a bit bigger and has larger drivers than my 260F. So a better comparison would be the T1 Plus, but I don't have a T1 Plus, so I'm going to do this video comparing the T2 Plus to the RP-260F. The T2 Plus is a rear-ported three-way floor standing speaker. It has a 25 by 32 millimeter folded ribbon tweeter, 5 1/4 inch woven fiber mid-range driver, and two 8-inch woven fiber bass drivers. It has an efficiency of 91 dB and a nominal impedance of 4 ohms. The frequency response is 35 Hz to 28,000 Hz. It stands just under 43 inches tall, just over 12 inches wide, and just over 12 inches deep. And it weighs 56.9 pounds. The T2 Plus is $999 US for the pair. The Klipsch RP-260F have a frequency response from 34 Hz to 25,000 Hz and a sensitivity of 97 dB. And the impedance is measured at 8 ohms. The 260F stands 39.6 inches tall, 9 inches wide, and 17.7 inches deep, and they weigh 49.5 pounds. Although the RP-260F is no longer for sale, the latest version, the RP-6000F, is available and it runs around $575 US per speaker. Before we go farther into this video, if you want to purchase anything from Emotiva like the T2 Pluses, why don't you look in the description below, click those links, and you can find out more about the T2 Plus or any other products from Emotiva. So I have the Emotiva T2 Plus here on the right with the Klipsch RP-260F here on the left. Now RP stands for Reference Premier, and this speaker itself is actually a couple of years old. They do have a newer version, but the design philosophy is pretty much the same. The newer version is known as the RP-6000F if you want to check that out. But like I said, the design philosophy is pretty much the same. And I want to start with the front of these speakers. As you can see, I have the grills on. The Klipsch uses a full-length grill with the Klipsch logo up top, whereas the Emotiva uses a 3/4 length grill and there's no logo whatsoever. Both grills attach magnetically, which is nice because you can easily just pull them off and they come off, or just allow them to snap back on pretty easily. But when you pull them off, you've got magnets along the side on the Klipsch. And then you just pull off the grill here on the Emotiva, and you've got magnets all throughout here, and this is what it looks like. Now the magnets are a little bit strong on the Emotiva, but they're easy to use, so that's just fine. Now that we have the grills off, you can see the differences in design philosophy, and we'll start at the top. Both of them have tweeters along the top. The first Emotiva logo that you see is up top just above this folded ribbon design tweeter, whereas the Klipsch has a horn-based tweeter here, and that's why it's flared, and Klipsch is known for their horns. Their logo is just below the horn. Now, moving just below the tweeter on the Emotiva, you've got a mid-bass driver here, so it handles the mid-range frequencies, and then you've got the bass drivers, these two 8-inch bass drivers right here, just below that, whereas you don't have a mid-range frequency driver on the Klipsch. You only have the bass drivers here. So this is a two-way speaker, whereas the T1 Plus and T2 Plus from Emotiva are both three-way speakers. Now, if you want a two-way speaker, you have to go to the T0 to get a two-way speaker from Emotiva. If you enjoy product comparisons like this one and want to see more of it, why don't you click that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can be alerted anytime we upload new content. Moving on to the sides of these speakers, obviously, like I said, these are two different size classes. The Emotiva is definitely taller than the Klipsch, and it's actually a little bit wider. But you do notice that the Klipsch is deeper, it's got more depth. So that's just kind of interesting. But what I really wanted to point out here is the surface finish. Emotiva uses a sort of a vinyl surface finish here that's a little bit soft to the touch, but hopefully that is getting picked up in the camera that you can see the surface finish there. while Klipsch uses this wood surface finish here that kind of looks like wood grain, and it's got a little bit of dimensionality to that, and they call this surface finish ebony. So I just wanted to point that out here. Moving on to the rear of these two speakers, I have the Klipsch on the far left and the Emotiva on the right. The first thing you notice is the surface finish for both of these speakers. You've got the wood grain surface finish on the Klipsch, and you have the vinyl surface finish on the Emotiva. Now just below that, you have a label for each one of these. It tells the name and serial number for each one of the speakers that you have, and they both are ported. The Klipsch is a rectangular port up top, while the Emotiva is a rounded port down at the bottom. This allows air to escape as the woofers move in and out. Now I do recommend, since neither one of these come with port plugs, that you keep them about 8 inches from your wall. That way you don't hear any sounds of the air hitting the wall or anything like that. They both also come with dual binding posts. The Emotiva is up top while the Klipsch is just below the port, and that allows you to bi-wire and bi-amp each one of these speakers. And they do take standard banana plugs, spades, and of course a bare speaker wire. So now I'm going to play a few audio samples for you so you can hear the differences between the Emotiva sound and the Klipsch sound. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those audio samples. Now I'm going to just talk about these two in a few different categories: what I like, what I don't like, and sort of what I heard when listening to these speakers in my room. Now the first thing I want to talk about is design, and both of these are well-built speakers. The cabinets are nice and solid and sturdy, and you're not going to really have any issues with them falling apart or anything like that. But when it comes down to looks, the Klipsch definitely has its signature copper there in the cones, along with that logo, and of course that horn-based design, whereas the Emotiva's got this all black thing going, and it's kind of up to you which one you prefer. Now personally, I prefer this look, and honestly I think the Klipsch design is a little bit more refined than the Emotiva, but again, that is a total personal preference. Okay, so now let's talk about sound quality, and I have to be honest, I prefer the T2 Plus over my Klipsch, and that's because the T2 Plus has a fuller, richer sound that's smoother in certain key areas as compared to the Klipsch. I'm going to play a quick audio sample of a violin playing on the T2 Plus versus the Klipsch. Okay, in that sound sample, I had some violins playing this orchestral music, and the Klipsch in the room, it has a horn, and Klipsch is known for its sort of bright sound presentation. Well, compared to the T2 Plus, it actually sounds a little bit harsh. The T2 Plus is smoother, and it's also still got the detail there, whereas the Klipsch sounds just a touch harsh. And I noticed that when I was listening to that. So on the high end, I prefer the T2 Plus. Moving into the mid-range, again, having this mid-range driver here means that you have a fuller, richer mid-range presentation. Vocals also sound just a bit more natural with the T2 Plus as compared to the Klipsch. Just a touch, not a lot, but just a touch more natural between those two. And moving into the low end, obviously the T2 Plus does a better job. You're talking dual 8-inch drivers versus dual 6.5-inch drivers. There's really no comparison. The bass is deeper and more impactful with the T2 Plus. Now, does this replace a dedicated subwoofer? I don't think so. I mean, a dedicated subwoofer, a good one, can play deeper and give you more output, but this does do a good job. And if you were only going to buy floor standing speakers and you had a choice between 8s or 6.5s, I'll tell you to go with the 8s. But again, that's another conversation for another time. But overall, like I said, I prefer the T2 Plus sound over the Klipsch sound. Am I going to get rid of my Klipsch's right now? No, not quite right this second, right? There's a few other speakers I'd like to try out, but I really do like the T2 Plus sound. So overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this short comparison video between these two speakers, and hopefully you could hear a difference in those audio samples. I think Klipsch does a great job with the design. I still like the Klipsch design, but I gotta hand it to Emotiva. They have done a great job with the T2 Pluses in that I think they sound better than the Klipsch RP-260F. It's a fuller, richer sound and not as bright at the top end, so I like the T2 Plus. And if you want to purchase the T2 Plus, the T1 Plus, or anything else from Emotiva, why don't you use those links in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. We'll talk to you next time.